Want to talk about karma? Look up Perez Hilton's hair plugs. Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast with Jackie and Jonny. I'm Jackie Agnew.
And I just saved a lot of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Nice.
No, I'm Jonny. This is not sponsored by Geico.
I was going to say some free advertising for Geico there.
I mean, they need it, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think they're struggling.
They could use a bump from us.
Yeah.
I think if any...
the Show Me Yours bump.
Yeah, right? If anybody knows anything about Geico car insurance, is that they're not doing as well as Jackie and Johnny's.
Exactly,
Show Me Yours podcast.
Well, thank you so much for watching. While you're at it, subscribe, like, follow, share with your friends, share us on your Instagram story, follow us on TikTok.
We're on the talk now.
We're on the talk.
We're ticking, we're talking.
Yeah.
We're ticking, we're talking.
TikTok.
How are we doing?
We're doing.
We're doing.
Haven't blown up yet.
Yeah, we could be dancing around or something.
You guys could help us out with that. Show Me Yours podcast on TikTok.
Is it on them or is it on us? Do we need to be better at this? Do we need to get silly? Do we need to start doing
choreographed? We're the best at this.
Well, I mean, we're the best at this.
Our TikTok will be evolutionizing, evolving.
Jesus Christ. And you wonder why. You wonder why we're struggling. Will we evolutionize?
Degree in English.
Yes. Right? Our TikTok presence will evolve as we grow. It is
evolving. Currently, we're posting clips from the show.
And as it evolves, it might revolutionize
the TikTok game.
A lot of people think that you're the you're the wordsmith around here. Right? A lot of people think that you're the person behind the scenes that's really pulling the strings, but it's pretty clear.
There's a lot of kinds of wordsmiths and smiths.
Yeah, I find them in the Smithsonian. I'm a wordsmithsonian.
Yeah.
I gotta go back.
But do all those things, please.
Sure.
Today's I don't know.
Today's episode is not brought to you by Geico.
No, today's episode we're switching it up a bit. Usually I realized I've been heavy on the classic rock albums, which because I love classic rock, but it's not the only music genre I listen to. I listen to most of the genres. I love and I do love discovering new music. I love listening to new music. I do like a lot of current artists.
Jackie will listen to anything.
Yeah,
she will. She'll listen to smooth jazz, the cries of children in the night. You know what I mean? All across the board. You love it all.
Exactly. So
I'm a little bit more picky.
Yeah. So today I brought in "Awaken My Love" by Childish Gambino. It's one of my favorite albums.
Oh, word?
I quite enjoy it. We'll get into that, but first we have a pressing news story to discuss.
Is my favorite. This is good.
So what happened was in Nevada, Reno, a woman...
The biggest little city.
Yeah. A woman
the littlest big city?
broke in... The littlest...
It's on the side.
Yeah. A woman broke into a dentist's office and stole cash plus extracted 13 teeth out of an unconscious patient's mouth. Now, there are a lot of details here that are worth getting into a little bit.
Jackie, break it down.
So, Laurel Ike, who is not a dentist, broke into an office where she claimed she formerly worked. So perhaps as a receptionist, or maybe a dental hygienist. It was not specified.
She might not be a dentist, but she's closer than we are. You know
to
what
dental
I mean?
work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's the closest,
Yeah, she's
apparently.
comfortable around the shush box. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So she allegedly stole $22,861 in cash and checks during the first break-in. So these were two separate break-ins. Sorry, I should have said that up top.
But that wasn't enough, right? Because you go in there and you get like $22,000. That's pretty good, but you didn't leave with any teeth.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Like,
she,
that's
almost $23,000 she walked away with.
not bad. Not bad. No teeth.
But then the tooth extraction occurred on a different date.
Oh, yeah.
She came back for more. And she also admitted to using anesthetic that had been disposed of by the office. And she admitted to multiple people, including deputies, that she performed the medical procedure on her own time. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So was she under the impression that she was still employed by these people?
Perhaps.
So she's like, hey, man, like, you know what I mean? Everybody's asking me to go above and beyond, right? They always want more out of the worker, right? Yeah. Every fucking employer that you'll ever meet wants more out of the worker. And when the worker says, you know what, fine, like, I love my job enough to come in and do it on my day off.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And she's going to jail?
Yeah, so she's charged with 2 counts of burglary and 1 count each of grand larceny, conspiracy to commit burglary, and perform surgery on another without a medical license, which is quite the charge.
Like, that's funny because, like, that charge could be so broad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could either be maybe you're in the woods and somebody gets cut and the infection is going. You maybe have to, like, amputate a finger or something out in the woods. Could potentially get the same charge as if you break into a dentist office and extract 13 teeth out of somebody's fucking skull.
While they're unconscious.
Pretty awesome.
I need to know which teeth. I need a map of the mouth.
Well, I mean, because Jackie, that brings up a lot of interesting points. Okay, first of all, is how long is this dentist's fucking lunch break?
Right?
That you're gonna put somebody out.
Who is watching this unconscious patient
for long enough for somebody to extract 13 teeth? Jackie, have you ever had a tooth taken out of your head?
No. Yes. When I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 teeth I've had extracted out of my head. 4 of them being wisdom teeth that weren't ready to come out.
Right.
So they had to cut my gums, expose the teeth, break them, and then extract them. So, like, that was pretty gnarly.
Right.
Another one was a molar as well that had to come out.
Right.
And I don't know about you, Jackie, but my roots run deep. Shout out to KYR Clothing. You know your motherfucking roots? My roots run fucking deep, Jackie.
Yeah, a lot of product placement.
A lot of placement. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. We are for sale. We never said that we weren't for sale.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is that the amount of, like, precision and knowledge and know-how that went into my teeth extractions, like, you kind of got to fucking know what you're doing when you're doing that kind of shit. And in basically so 3 different dentist trips, I've had 5 teeth pulled out, and the common part was that basically once you, like, break a tooth and shit, they have to go back in and, like, pull the tip of the root or whatever that, like, broke off out of the thing. And one dentist was actually considering sending me to an oral surgeon or whatever.
Right, yeah.
You know, but he, you know, shout out to that guy. He ended up, like, finding the pieces and pulling them out. So, like, is she just going for, like, the easy ones, like, right up front?
Right.
Are these baby teeth?
Yeah.
Are these, you know what I mean? And we need to know more about this because
I need to know a timeline of, like,
the
break-in to the extraction of all the teeth. Like, that's 13.
Plus, we don't have a statement of the person that's missing 13 fucking teeth.
Exactly. Yeah, I need to hear from them.
I would love to. I bet they're just whistling through the whole thing. Yeah. But still, there's what they're leaving out here is the negligence of the dentist office.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because obviously she was in, like, an operating room. Maybe somebody walked by and they were like, hey, Laurel, how you doing? And she's just like, oh, she got her knee on somebody's chest, just fucking yanking teeth out of their head. That's awesome.
Was she not working there at the time? Like, she had already left, or is she no longer working there after this incident?
Like, we're going to stay on this case until every rock is turned and we have every little piece of information because there's so much that we're not getting here.
Yeah.
Right? I almost feel like she's set up, right? What if it's like a new dentist? What if this dentist is like, you know, maybe not that comfortable with teeth extractions, and he's sitting here and he's like, fuck, I gotta get a hold of, like, out of the homegirl Laurel, like, she pulls fucking teeth like nobody's business. Calls Laurel goes in there to do a service for a friend. You know what I mean? Because, like, obviously she's so passionate about pulling teeth out of skulls, but on the other side of the fence, you know, she's also gonna, you know, help a friend out of a jam. Right. So she goes over there, then maybe, like, some commotion gets stirred up or something, then that young dentist is like, maybe he doesn't want to come clean, and Laurel's like taking the hit. She's like, no, don't worry, I got this. Right?
Yeah, it's so bizarre to me how close this is to Dr. Gleam. I'm not going to go into details because this will be on television one day. But there's a character I created.
It's true.
Who's a dentist called Dr. Gleam, and he has a dental hygienist, Blanche, and I'm imagining their dynamic is what's going on here. Dr. Gleam, I won't tell you his whole backstory because again, you'll see it one day. But basically, he also hates tooth extractions, or so he says.
So he says.
That's his
you can't
cover
trust
up.
Dickie Gleam, man.
Yeah, you cannot. Guy. Yeah, Dr. Richard Gleam. But yeah, I think I've had one tooth extraction. Actually, don't even know. I have not had my wisdom teeth out. But I believe when I was a child, I believe this definitely happened. I just don't know if my tooth was pulled but I must have been like 2. I swan dived into a bathtub and chipped half of one of my front teeth out.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so I think if I remember the story correctly, I'm sure one of my parents will tell me if I'm wrong.
You had so many concussions and you just like dive into the shallow end of the bathtub.
Yeah, that was concussion number 1. But I believe we were still living in Squamish at the time, and it was like a whole situation where I had to get to a dentist that could handle this kind of dental work. I think we had to come to Vancouver or something like that. I'm not remembering the whole story, but I know there was an emergency dental procedure performed.
Do you? Oh, so but you don't remember?
No, because I was so young. Yeah.
When I was like 6 or 7, I was playing basketball and it started to rain, and I'll always remember kind of like turning a corner, coming towards the hoop, and there was like a crushed up Slurpee cup, just like a wax paper cup or whatever on the ground. And like it's been driven over a million times or whatever. It's almost like part of the concrete at this point. But then obviously once the rain comes, it kind of slips. And I remember my foot just going onto it, and it just slides right out, face first into the concrete, and it smacked my front tooth out. And if you actually look at it, you can see there's a little bit lighter than the other thing. And that happened fucking, I don't know, 24 years ago or some shit like that, which is pretty crazy.
I had one time, a tooth didn't come out, but I chipped it. We used to stay at this cabin on Salt Spring Island every summer for like fucking like 13, 15 years, my whole childhood until high school. And there was one summer where we all swimming off this dock. It's this beautiful lake, Cushion Lake on Salt Spring Island.
Check it out.
And we were all in the water, and it was getting late. I think we had to like come inside for like dinner or something like that. And Kelly, there's like to get up from the dock, they have that little wooden ladder or whatever. Yeah. And Kelly was kind of perched up on the top of it, and wouldn't. Me and Maddie used to come with us every year, and he wouldn't let us out of the lake. We had to like go under him to like get out, like this weird like game. And everyone did it. It was totally fine. And I fucking refused. I was like, no, get the fuck off the ladder. Like, I'm not going to fucking climb under. You're going to fuck with me. Yeah. And he was like, no. And then, like, my mom's, like, calling us, like, you guys, you have to fucking come inside. It's getting dark out. And so finally, after, like, much protest, I was like, fine. And I start climbing up, and right when my head is underneath him, his feet slip and just smacks my head against the dock and like chipped one of my front teeth.
Concussion number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I can't remember how old. I probably was like 10, 11, something like that. I'm sure he felt awful about it.
Well, no, sure. I mean,
but
no, he's going to go down in history as
kidding me? Yeah,
that's whack. It was his fault that this thing happened, right? I mean, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Mrs. Laurel Ike could be going to jail on some trumped up charges.
Yeah, I also want to know, what is the motive here? Is there a black market for teeth?
I thought that she just had him in like a maraca. And she was just like going to shows and could you imagine?
Like a skull-shaped maraca.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? Just a kind of like weird voodoo band or something like that. If that's the case, then I'm totally into it, right? Yeah. But if it's for something like not maraca. then I'm kind of against it, right? I'm
Well,
against this whole thing unless it's for Morocco.
Yeah, and it ties again back into Dickie Gleam. I can't tell you guys. I'm so sorry, but it's like the big twist with Dickie Gleam. What
Why do you keep bringing it back if you can't fucking talk about
but
it?
I'm
If you're
saying
not,
the similarities are so astonishing.
Did you bring up this whole thing so you could somehow vaguely allude to a character that you've written that you're not going to talk about?
No, I realized it as we were talking about it.
Okay. I like the story. I mean, I'm a fan of it.
Maybe I can tell you guys. Maybe
Jackie, let's stay on topic. Act 1.
But,
no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I need to know what these teeth were for. I need to know what the patient's status is. I need to know what the fuck this doctor's deal was.
The whole thing, like this whole article is bullshit because it's basically just telling you one side of a story that there is so many parts of, just at least from the workers in the dental office, the dentist himself, arresting officers, and the person that had 13 fucking teeth extracted from their head. We're missing comment from all of these people.
Did they get like free replacement teeth? How fucking upset would you be? Because no one likes going in for dental work. You finally, you get in there, you're like, fuck, okay, I'm gonna do this. You have to go unconscious, so it was probably whatever they were in for was a pretty significant procedure.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you're missing 13 teeth, and they're like, I'm so sorry, one of our former employees came in and took 13 of your teeth out without us realizing. They must be getting sued.
Well,
like,
I love that they had to confirm 13, right? Like, is it just because like 13 teeth are on the floor? Do they know? Because,
well, presumably she kept the teeth.
Well, you have to. You don't remove teeth and just like not put them in your pocket.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous, right?
She needed them for some reason.
I mean, how many times have you just been like, fuck, I'm 13 teeth short of the thing that I want to do? So many times that happens. All the time. I can't remember how many times I've been about to board a flight. You know what I mean? I'm about to order a meal. I'm about to do all of the things that I want to do to get happiness in my life. And I'm just 13 teeth short.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we're all 13 teeth short of something.
I mean, some people are missing their marbles. Some people missing 13 teeth. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think this is a tale as old as time, really. And I think that until we get justice for Laurel, like I'm totally on Laurel's side on this thing. I'm
on the patient's side. I think they're the real victim here.
Jackie, have you ever heard of karma? There's no way that he didn't do something in some way to deserve this. So you don't just good people don't just have 13 teeth yanked from their head.
Yeah. Want to talk about karma? Look up Perez Hilton's hair plugs. This is something that recently came to my attention. Perez Hilton, he's the fucking piece of shit that made a living off of cyberbullying people.
Oh, okay, yeah, but like TMZ, but with like an opinion or whatever.
Yeah,
like Caddy fucking.
Yeah, like all through.
That person's still alive. That was in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, he's still trying to remain relevant.
Oh, good.
And he has the most horrendous hair plugs I've ever seen in my life, and it makes me so happy.
You know what's awesome is like when somebody that just makes a living shitting on people, like you can't like are the new videos with hats on, or is dude trying to rock this?
I have no idea. So the reason this came to my attention, this is slightly embarrassing, but so I finished The Hills. And now I've started The Hills New Beginnings, which they came back. So it starts in 2019. So it's them as like 30-year-olds.
Oh,
now.
Good.
And so it's similar to Jersey Shore Family Reunion. Not as good, honestly. If you're gonna choose one, go the Jersey Shore route. That's far superior. But if you finish Jersey Shore, still wanna get in on some old school reality TV that comes back in later years, The Hills is not so bad.
This is a music podcast.
But, so, just a quick recap. Misha Barton is on, Marissa from The OC is on, The Hills New Beginnings.
She died, though. I watched Ryan carry her off a baseball field.
Yeah, a baseball field.
Was it? I can't remember.
It was a highway. Their car got ran off the road by Volchuk. Fucking piece of shit.
Volchuk. This is a music podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyways, she was on the new she's on the new series, And Perez Hilton absolutely was so vicious to her, like back in the day. And so she still has.
She was great.
Yeah, but he's a piece of shit. He was vicious to like every female celebrity,
really?
Pretty much. He
Remember
was
Summer from One Tree Hill?
Terrible.
I like Summer from One Tree
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah, Rachel Bilson.
Rachel Bilson. Shout
yeah,
out to Rachel Bilson.
solid. But
what do you think she's up to?
She has a podcast with the actress that played Julie on the OC, and they do rewatch. Summer's from the OC, not from One Tree Hill.
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Anyways, this has gone on for far too long already. But Misha Barton was at Perez Hilton came to a party to like apologize to her for being such a dick back in the day, and she did not have any of it. It was fucking awesome.
Nice.
She's like, "Fuck you forever," and he immediately like flipped out. But he has terrible hair plugs, and so I was laughing so hard the whole time.
You know,
so
the
that's
problem
karma.
is that he still has like 32 teeth in his head. He could be missing 13.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
that would be cool. Imagine
if he came up and was missing 13 teeth, if the victim, how great would it be if it was Perez Hilton that got 32 teeth extracted in Reno?
I would be completely indifferent either way. But seeing your joy in somebody else's demise would make it worth it.
Only because he's like a terrible person.
Yeah? Is there anybody out there that I think low enough to wish 13 teeth extracted from their head? I don't know. Off the top of my head, 13 teeth is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's going to affect your life.
I know a couple people, 5'10", sure, but 13.
Yeah.
You know
Half a dozen, whatever.
Oh, yeah. You know what
But that's 13 is over a dozen. That's a baker's dozen.
Is that because the baker wants to have one for themselves?
I believe so.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool.
Nice.
I'm super into that.
Yeah,
We're learning things today. This is a music podcast.
Yeah. But, my thoughts are with the patient. If it's not Perez Hilton, I hope Laurel turns her life around. I need to know more about this fucking dentist that allowed this to happen under his watch.
It's shady. It's justice for Laurel. I'm saying that she was a patsy here. She's a scapegoat for some reason, right? There's not enough information coming from the whole thing. You know what I mean? Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. She's been framed, maybe. I don't know. Until I see actual maybe video evidence.
Yeah.
Or I guess she did admit it, man.
Imagine if it was like a Lee Harvey Oswald situation, and she is like, this became a huge story, and
there was a second puller in there the whole time,
or she's like paraded out in front of everyone at the police station, and the dentist comes and shoots her
Jack
down.
Ruby style.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to cover this up, right? Like you watch, you fucking watch, right? If Laurel Ike goes down before trial is held, before anything, it's just to keep her quiet, right? It's to keep the underground, teeth factory rings running at full steam, right? And everybody's just going to disregard this. It's, they're going to sweep it under the rug, right? Everybody's just going to move past this in a year now. Everybody's going to be like, Laurel who? No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay, she's going to be remembered as a hero and as a pioneer.
Yeah.
And as a pretty decent amateur dentist.
Yeah, and
and a great Morocco player. Yeah, great Morocco player.
Yeah, like a full one or like the little eggs.
I like the eggs because it kind of like you can have them like for like if they were both skulls and you could be like ooh and do like a fun thing like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to a handled maraca if it's you know what I mean, if it's used properly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, these
it's
are
all
weapons,
about
right?
technique.
So I mean, just make sure that when you're going out there and use them, they're you're just not pointing them at anybody and
exactly.
you're just trying to have a good time.
yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Laurel's just looking for some good old-fashioned fiesta fun.
Fuck did a fiesta have anything to do with that?
They're not. Is that not at a fiesta? You don't have maracas?
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's a musical instrument. I mean, you could have maracas and a lot of different things. But
yeah,
like
but I'm just
you
saying.
could also
for
have
example,
a fiesta without a maraca.
I'm just saying, for example, say
Sure.
she was planning a fiesta and she was like, "Fuck, I have this maraca cake. Is it Morocco or Morocco? Morocco's the country, right?"
Yeah, and the guy from Bon Appetit.
Yes. She has like the maraca. Maraca just sounds like a water bug.
What the fuck are you talking about, Jackie? You don't. Anything is a maraca empty. Like anything is an empty maraca. You can have like an empty beer can, and you could be like, "Oh man, this would be a sweet maraca if I had 13 human teeth."
Exactly. That was probably her situation. She's like, I'm throwing this bomb ass fiesta, and I just have these empty maracas. I need a filling.
You just fill a couple Coronas up
Yeah.
with maybe
I still have my
6
keys.
in one, 7 in the other. And
Yeah. I still have my keys to the dentist's office. No one caught me stealing $23,000 last week. Might as well go back in, pull a couple pearly whites.
I could use a couple BBs. I could use some uncooked rice. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of different things that I could fill this Morocco with.
But you're not going to get the same
sound.
quality of sound.
You don't have like the acoustics from 13 Human Teeth. You can't replicate that.
No.
You can't replicate that any other way, right? So I mean, in that sense, then you got to choose the greater good, right? And that is always, you know what I mean, the love of the music.
Yeah.
Right? Like how committed is she to her sound? Right? That she's going to go as far as extracting 13 teeth from a human skull.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make that Morocco part really shine in the song, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are leaving a musical performance and going, that maraca, something about that maraca.
What's in that?
Exactly, right? But unless it's a voodoo human teeth filled maraca is like the only way that you're really going to get that instrument, I think, to shine above like a guitar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Unless
Maybe
it was filled with
solo.
like ivory, but we don't support that.
We don't support ivory. Jackie, Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, in the olden days, perhaps ivory maracas were a thing. But Laurel doesn't believe in that.
No.
She's an
Laurel's not
animal
about that.
lover.
Yeah, exactly. She's about the human ivories.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I had this thought, legitimately this thought went through my head the other day when I was like, what are teeth made of? Ivory?
Isn't it like human hair? Or like the
I
same
thought it
shit
was
that's like fingernails are made of?
bone. Oh, I thought it was like a bone.
Jackie, you were
probably
talking to
not.
the wrong guy.
Yeah,
about
I don't
what
think
anything in the
I don't
human
think
body is
anything
made
we've
of.
said is factual here so far.
No, other than the
Morocco
theory.
the
I
Morocco
think.
theory,
Yeah.
obviously that's airtight.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, there's no other logical explanation to pull 13 teeth from a human head.
Yeah.
Other than you know what I mean to
she was
really
making
group it out.
tacos. She had enchiladas in the oven and burritos. She had all of the fixins.
She's like, there's so much food. I need 13 more teeth to chew it. I mean,
yeah, she just put them in her. Maybe she was missing 13 teeth, and she kept asking this dentist. She's like, please, I need some help. My brother. I've been working here for like 20 years. Can you please hook me up with like a few teeth?
And the guy's like, oh, finally. I thought that you were just walking around like that.
Yeah,
like,
and he was
totally.
like-
we could help. We could hook you up today.
He was like, go fuck yourself, Laurel. You're fired. And so she had no choice but to come back and take the teeth for herself.
I mean, not as like. I mean, I think the Morocco theory, I think, is just a little
It's
more
probably a little
grounded
bit
in
more
reality.
plausible. Yeah,
a little more grounded in reality. And but
But
we're not gonna
we
throw
can
that
agree
away.
there was a fiesta involved.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm gonna go as far as to say maybe even a couple like sizzling quesadilla platters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She had
Coming out of the
all
back,
of the
right? Sure.
all of the most delicious dishes.
If it's not sizzling and steaming, it's not a dilla.
Exactly.
Well, it's sort of not a quesadilla. It would be like a fajita. It's
A fajita. But
yeah.
she has both. She has fajitas, quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and enchiladas.
You know what's awesome is that those all are just the same thing, just
Yeah,
served
just
different ways.
slightly
That's cool.
different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm super into it. I mean, you
Yeah.
can pour sauce on it, bake it, call it a fucking enchilada. I don't care. I love Mexican food.
Same. I would love to have been invited to Laurel's fiesta.
I mean, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe she's just runs with a circle that like you have to have proof of at least, you know what I mean, several teeth extractions. Like, I've had 5 teeth pulled out of my head. Not even close.
Yeah.
I've never extracted.
Not even halfway there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not even that though. Like, I mean,
You
somebody
never
else has pulled
extracted a
those
tooth
teeth
yourself.
out of my head. Yeah, exactly. To get on the
Gotcha.
team, right? To really ride with those
And
guys.
extracting a tooth can't be easy. You got to know the technique.
Jackie, when this guy was
Yeah.
doing mine, he literally had his fucking knee on my chest, and he's like yanking the fucking thing out of my. It was gnarly. And I'm sitting there, and basically, so like your instinct is like somebody's pulling on your face, so your neck is gonna go forward, but he's basically like hand on the forehead, knee on my chest
Oh my god.
to keep my head from coming forward to yank that fucking tooth out.
Was your mouth numb?
No, Jackie gave me a shot of whiskey and a punch in the dick. Yeah, of course my
Okay.
mouth was numb.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes
This is modern medicine. What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't have enough to be put out like our unfortunate
Yeah.
friend here that lost 14.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He shot me up. And a little trick, if you're, because I've been in the dentist chair a couple times, and a little trick is that when they put the numbing shit in there and then they ask if you feel it, always say yes.
Right.
Because it doesn't cost more for you to give like another fucking Novocaine shot. Just always say yes, because you might need it later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I hate it. I've had a couple dental procedures where I had to get my mouth numbed. I hate it so much.
A needle in the mouth sucks.
I had to
it's
fucking,
gross.
when I got my, when I was like 13, I got my front 4 teeth. They're basically like veneers because I had gaps in my teeth and I was very self-conscious about it.
Gross.
And I had to get a shot right at the vein that's like,
nice.
it was so gnarly.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
I haven't had like any like serious dental work done in a while, but that probably only means that I'm due.
Oh yeah, I still haven't got my wisdom teeth taken out. Anyways, we don't have to go into our dental histories.
Jackie, this is 32 minutes into a music podcast about an album that you brought in.
Yeah, let's move on to the album. So we're doing Awaken My Love by Childish Gambino, like I said.
It's good.
This is the 3rd studio album by Childish Gambino. Of course, I'm sure most of you know. For those who don't, it's Donald Glover, the actor/comedian.
Nice.
This was released December 2nd, 2016. And it's a huge departure from his earlier albums, which were predominantly, they were hip hop. There were some like songs on them where he kind of like sings a bit. Like they're still a bit different, but they're hip hop albums. Like you can't really argue that. But this one is like this blend of like funk and like jazz and soul and like sort of psychedelic and R&B. Like it's a whole bunch of shit.
There's a lot of shit going on here.
Yeah, and so he debuted the album at a concert in Joshua Tree, I think it was, from like September 3rd to 5th, the year that he released it. So it came out in December, but he premiered it at this concert where he just played it in its entirety. And it was met with like pretty much all positive reviews, which is like a little bit surprising considering how much different it is and how shocking it was.
Yeah,
for
but
this
when
to,
you're
like,
listening to this album, like the only problem that I had with it is that I was, you know what I mean? Again, same with the COVID or whatever, right? Like this album should be heard. I think it would be better live, like as a live album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this whole band, like there's so many things going on this record. And I think you take so many chances that it would really showcase how great, you know what I mean, this entire band would be or whatever, if that was what he was going for, right?
Or you
so
need
I don't
to,
know
like,
if if he put the record together kind of himself without, you know what I mean, the mix of like you know, like say a set 6 or 7 musicians or whatever that was gonna do the whole thing. So like obviously that wasn't the case, but it stands like I didn't know who like Childish Gambino really was, or like I mean obviously know who he is, but listening to his music, this could be you know what I mean, anybody, right? Completely out of left field. And and like you can't like deny the quality obviously, but it was so like shockingly different. I remember the first single was the first song on the album, Me and Your Mama. It was real good.
And I remember the single being released. I was living on the island at the time and being like, holy shit, like a new Childish Gambino single. It had been like a couple years.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like on my way out somewhere, but I like stayed to like listen to it. I remember just like sitting on my bed and being like, holy shit, I was not expecting this. And it was just like, I
had the same experience listening to it this morning because like, I mean, you know, I didn't do the homework fast enough, right? But I knew that we were going to do the episode, so I got to get into this thing. And not what I was expecting. Yeah. Not, and I was excited too because I stopped it and I put it back and I played it again and I actually like read the lyrics and kind of got like an idea for you know, kind of what they were saying and shit, which was a lot of stuff going on in here.
But so he kind of transformed him from this like comedian / like hip hop artist he was definitely respected but still like kind of goofy. But this now suddenly he's like this Prince like artist that can do a variety of genres very well.
There's voices on this that don't even sound like him, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of capable of going in a few different things, and I think for better or worse, right? I'm not saying everything on this hit for me, but there was enough good to stand back and kind of go like, there's like this album definitely would stand alone, I'm sure, in his catalog.
And like it just turned him into into a new like level of artistry that you would never have expected from him. And now people like, he's like this sort of like enigmatic character now that he's very private and like just and so respected from like everyone, pretty much everyone fucking loves this guy. Like, he's like a modern Renaissance man. Like, he can do fucking anything.
Get off his dick.
But yeah, so his first 2 albums, he had 2 studio albums before this, and a couple EPs as well, but 2 studio albums that were hip hop. And
any notable like standout like hits that I might have heard? Like
3,
other than like This Is America, I don't really know a whole lot of this dude's music.
Yeah, there's 3005, 3008. Something. If you heard it, you would probably recognize it. Cool. He has a couple singles that he did actually very well because the internet was a huge success. That came out in 2013.
He was Troy from Community. I'm sure like that, a lot of that kind of came, you know what I mean? You put a record out, I'm sure a lot of people are just going to check it out.
Yeah. And I always really liked him because, you know, I was a fan of him as a comedian, and I like he has a very recognizable and unique voice as a hip hop artist, and some of his lyrics are so fucking hilarious. Yeah. Like I wrote down some of my favorites.
Spit them bars, Jackie.
I've seen it all, like I'm John Mayer's penis hole.
John Mayer's penis hole is eating a bunch of shit.
Yeah. An elephant never forgets, so my dick remembers everything.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Use a fake fuck like a fleshlight.
Yeah. Okay.
EE coming on her face. Now that's poetry in motion.
Love it.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to any of this
stuff. So
stuff.
fucking funny in his lyrics. His lyrical content, fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I recommend going back and listening to his first 2 albums. It's nothing like this, but solid. I like it. But yeah. So like as I was saying, since obviously this was such a different route for him to sort of go down, I'm wondering if like, do you think it kind of it harms your career as a comedian if you suddenly become like a serious artist and not like as an actor, because comedians do that all the time without any problem, but to like produce like content like he does that is like so serious? Do you think that has harmed him as a comedian? Because it's hard to like see him now, like to see him do stand up and for him to sort of like have these 2 different personas now, to see him, you know,
I think so,
come on stage and do dick jokes.
Totally.
It's a little jarring.
I think that like that's the trajectory of like his career specifically, I think is going to be hard for you to go and reverse and do something childish or whatever, right? Like, which I'm sure he's obviously capable of doing, but like if the evolution of the man and the artist or whatever is kind of going in that direction, then might it hurt your comedy? For sure. But is that a reason to really give a shit if like you're clearly going, you know what I mean, like somewhere else in that direction? If he was like a regular comedian that didn't have all the, you know, other like talents, you know what I mean, pretty multifaceted artist here that is capable of acting, probably capable of doing very serious shit as well, and probably, you know what I mean, capable of doing funk and soul and fucking jazz and all kinds of different fucking shit. Takes a shitty stab at a reggae fucking thing and hear whatever that made me laugh, but the song was still kind of cool. It was just the accents that kind of that got me, but this dude is kind of got so for like a regular comedian, I think a lot of them do suffer when a lot of people that you kind of see on the fringe will promote their comedy, and at the same time they're like lately I think political beliefs, like that's been really fucking a real clear indicator of where somebody is as a person and where they draw the line in the sand. And unfortunately when that comes off, there either you're on my side or you're an idiot kind of attitude comes with it, and I think that's detrimental to your comedy, because you're going to split an audience in half. If you were capable of selling tickets to both sides of the fence and kind of bringing everybody into the fold, then I think as a like that's probably in the pocket that you would want to stay. You know what I mean? Unless you kind of go so far, you know, in one direction or whatever that you're like fucking, you know, Sam Tripoli and everybody has to have a tinfoil hat in the fucking audience or whatever. Like if that's the community that you're building, fine. But if not, and you just kind of got sucked into it, then I think it'd be extremely detrimental to a career in comedy, for sure.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what your goals are, and like his trajectory is clearly like so. He has so much to give. And so maybe
like an
it's
elephant
not
trunk worth of dick, apparently.
Yeah. And
Right
so
on.
maybe it's not as important for him to keep doing stand-up when he has like this inside of him, you know? And
I think a lot of stand-ups want to be rock stars. A lot of rock stars want to be stand-ups and shit like that. If you could fucking have the ability to do both.
To do both, yeah.
Yeah, I would.
And like seeing him, I haven't seen him live, but I've seen like, you know, videos of him live and stuff like that. And like, it's, you know, in his performances, it's not just like him on stage singing. It's like a whole fucking experience. Like he clearly, you know, has so much going on in his mind. And so, you know, maybe it's like, he's like, fuck it. Like, I don't, stand up isn't doing it for me anymore when I have this to
totally.
express,
and I mean, I bet when, like, as a young stand-up and probably being so famous with, like, community and shit like that, he probably wasn't even getting the respect amongst peers in a stand-up community or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're probably just here because of your other credits and blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
It'd be pretty easy for him to say fuck it and do anything else because I never saw him, like, in that like stand-up circle or like, you know, that this is like the thing that he does. I've seen clips of him like an actual special or whatever that he has like in a theater and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I've
he
never,
has
like I didn't know him as like as a stand-up comic until I saw like a special of his or whatever, right? Which is kind of weird, but
yeah, he has that special. I think it's called Weirdo or something that's on Netflix. That's like, it's pretty good. I never I've watched it a couple times. And it never really stuck with me that much.
It seemed kind of juvenile and silly. He's like laughing through a lot of fart jokes and
but
stuff
I
like
think
that,
he
which
was
was
pretty
fine.
young.
But yeah, exactly, right.
But he, and that's the other thing.
That's kind of a clear indicator of like from that stuff to where this is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the trajectory shit. Same with like This Is America and all that stuff.
Exactly.
You know what
like
I mean?
He's
If that's the
grown
direction,
as a person,
fuck yeah, right.
And like that's the other thing is that he was so young when he started. He got his first writing job on 30 Rock. I believe he was still in university. He was at NYU. When he first got a job on 30 Rock.
Fuck
like he's been consistently exceptional at everything he does. But yeah, kind of to backtrack a little bit because I was going to ask you this first. What were your general like thoughts on the album?
Immediately when he's with the first track, I was like, holy shit. There's a lot of the only thing about this album that I really don't dig is that there's a lot of kind of jarring genre shifts, not just from song to song, but within the song. I think I took some fucking notes here. I apologize, but just because I couldn't, there was no way that I was going to remember what was going on. But there is one song in particular. Can I Get Some Love, right? The second song on the album, right? Like, basically, like, it's so fucking good. There's a lot of kind of going on in that.
Yeah, it kind of has, like, a funkadelic vibe to it.
Yeah, it totally does, right?
Yeah.
But the bridge in the song is, like, a completely different... Like, it kind of goes from something, like, a little bit more, like, funky and soulful or whatever to something way psychedelic and shit. So there's a couple of those jarring shifts in there that, like, musically, I'm like... This might be like a little bit too much, and a lot of times the song might be over at 3.5 minutes, and it goes to 5:50, and you know how that kind of gets me or whatever. It's like a lot of noodling around, and you know that to me that just sounds like a long fade out. You know what I mean? At the end of the song, you kind of said everything that you have to say. So there was so it took maybe 20 minutes longer than it had to get through the end, I think, but.
It is a pretty short album still. It's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, totally. Maybe not 20. Maybe you know what I mean. Fucking let's say 10 or whatever, right? But still, the tone and the vibe and all of that shit or whatever that he's going for. Like, I'm not the target audience, so like my critiques of sonically how I like to sound null and void, don't mean anything because for somebody to have the balls to venture away from like a hip hop career and do basically everything under the sun. Like you could really, there's you know what I mean? Everything from like hand claps and like almost like soulful like church choir shit. To all the way to the end of like psychedelia and stuff, right? So there's a lot of swings on here. My only critique, the only thing that I don't like about this album really is that I wish that it ended with the same oomph that it kind of began with. Right. I think the last like 3 or 4 songs on the record kind of like taper down, which is the vibe, which is totally cool. But after it opens so strong, I want it to kind of stay at that tempo and that level like all the way through, because then I would like I'd put it on at parties or something. I'd be like, this is like, you know what I mean? This would be like cool background music or whatever that people would assume that I'm more well diversed in music than I am. Like, yeah, check this shit out.
I do think it is an album that you can kind of put on just to like, chill to.
I totally would. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
it's weird, right? Because I think an album like this, I think, would grow on me over time.
Yeah.
But having to do the homework or whatever to do this episode, you're really focusing in on it.
Yeah.
And you're kind of depriving yourself of that.
The time. To
just like the natural.
Yeah.
Way that you kind of hear a song and it would get catchy. If you probably played this for me in the car or something like that, then there'd be some bangers on and I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Especially that first track when he comes in, maybe 2-minute lead up or whatever until he actually starts singing. But once he did, that shit is that's really fucking cool. I was expecting a hip hop album. You told me it was gonna be a little bit different, right? But I was laying in bed this morning like, oh, okay, well, better do this thing. Maybe expecting what I was expecting or something. Probably under playing it in my head or just expecting maybe not to like it as much as I did. It was a fucking cool, you know what I mean? Yeah, left turn.
Yeah, no, it was super unexpected. And that said, like I listened to it probably like the day that it came out, and I like have consistently listened to it since then. So definitely, obviously, it's been like almost 5 years. So different than just hearing it for your first time. No, for today.
Sure. Well, exactly. But it has like an evergreen feel to it. There's nothing that I was listening to here that was like, oh, that's like a, you know what I mean? That's a pocket of this time or whatever. This fucking record could have been made in the 90s and the 80s or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff on there that I think is like evergreen and tried and true. You know what I mean? He like, it was like, I don't know a whole lot about funk and soul and all that other stuff, but it felt right. It didn't feel like out of place or jarring for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And except for some of the synth stuff might have been like a little bit too. There was one where like there's a synth I think on like the third, like on the Boogeyman track or whatever, that basically just kind of sounds like a shitty harmonica solo.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's like a few.
Yeah.
Excuse me. There's a few things there where I was kind of like, just giggling to myself about, but I'm just like, I'm listening to it being over analytical to do this episode, right? So, I mean, that's not a critique in any way.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend listening to it with like good speakers or like good headphones, because there's so much going on musically. Like even like when I was just listening to it today, I was even like hearing shit that I had like not heard before in some of the songs.
You probably listen with a more critical ear, right? But when you get into it, like, I mean, I would like to, now that you go the record here, like, I'd really like to like take a look at liner notes and see like, you know what I mean, how many musicians were here, like where I'd like to probably know like the story behind the record. Maybe it was with a producer and a group of this and that or whatever. Because if he just as an artist walked in there and they were like, what do you want to make? And he's like, fucking everything.
Yeah, well, he wrote all the songs.
It really, it really fucking, took you, it took a journey, right?
Yeah.
Really did. And I think it was an ambitious swing, and it fucking knocked it out of the park, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of, you brought up Boogeyman.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the lyrical content of this song is very politically charged. It's basically
it's a funky fuck the police.
It's like basically about like how the culture in America, I would say probably just North America, not just the States, just breeds like racial fear, and particularly towards Black people, how they're just like framed as like evil and dangerous. Yeah, totally. But obviously, like, we can't really speak to that because we're white as fuck.
What?
And
fuck.
And it would probably be offensive to try. So I want to
keep my mouth shut on matters like this,
So I want to know your opinions on the myth of the Boogeyman. Is this something? Is this something that you believed in as a kid, or something you still think of
Did
now?
You just sidestep around racism with the Boogeyman? That's what you get on this show. We're not afraid to tackle the topics. Yeah, the idea of like the Boogeyman or something in the closet or something under the bed or whatever, like, for sure. I'm a very overactive mind and imagination. So like 100%. But did you ever see the movie Little Monsters?
I don't think so, no.
Jackie. Little Monsters is a fantastic film from the 90s. That Howie Mandel is dressed up like a blue monster.
Okay.
And he takes the kid under and looks like, you know what I mean, kind of explore the world under the bed. And so from like a very young age, my brain was really like weird in the sense that like I wasn't afraid of like the monsters or like the things that go bump in the night because I always felt that I was like badass enough that we'd get along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was the weirdest fucking thing, but seeing like as a kid, I always rooted for bad guys in the movies.
Right.
I always, you know what I mean? Kind of had like some kind of feeling that I could, you know, that I was okay with these people. They're just misunderstood characters or whatever the case, right? Like obviously, you know what I mean? I was also just being a shitty kid too,
right?
You know, kind of just like wanting to be like contrarian or whatever. But like when I saw like American Werewolf in London, I remember thinking like that would be so cool. Not watching the, you know what I mean, the crazy transformation take place and thinking about like the pain and the agony that the person is going through. I'm just like, fucking werewolves are dope,
right? Yeah.
So the things that like, and then that movie Little Monsters put like a face, you know what I mean? It personified the Boogeyman to Howie Mandel.
Right.
So, like,
yeah.
I would like almost kind of like, I wish that they would like take me away or whatever, and that I could like, you know, just be like,
right.
Yeah, cool amongst the monsters, like chilling and shit with like Bigfoot and stuff. Cause like that's my, you know, my affinity for for the feet. But yeah, like definitely, but like I've like romanticized him as more of like a possible friend than something that I was ever afraid of.
Yeah, I was so terrified. I don't think I was ever specifically, maybe when I was really young, I would say the boogie monster, but just of like creatures or people like hiding in my room when I was like asleep, always, until I was like pretty old. I would always like check under my bed before I went to sleep. I would always when I was like in elementary school, I took the doors off of my closet because I didn't like not knowing what was behind them.
That
and they
is totally
stayed
fair.
They stayed off until just like this last year when my mom repainted the room. She's like, we need to get doors for your closet. And I was like, no, we don't. And she's like, you don't even live here anymore. I was like, the doors stay off.
That makes perfect sense to me though, right? Because like watching like violent movies from a very young age, I remember like anything else that was like fantasy or whatever was fun. I'm more terrified of people and like what a person is capable of.
Yeah,
right? So, like,
yeah.
that is something that I totally get, right? Like what is that? Remember Dennis the Menace?
Of course.
Remember the hobo or whatever? He's like making beans and shit on the fire. The makeup on that guy or whatever. Like that was the personification of evil to me when I was like a small child.
Yeah,
right? So I was always afraid of like being, you know what I mean, like kidnapped and like raped or molested or whatever by a person.
Same.
Never gave a shit about. You know, like the Boogeyman's gonna be the homie. Right, like if anything, he's got my back.
Yeah, I can
I
see
mean?
that. Yeah, that
it's
divide.
Fucking Dave down the street that we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I was terrified of that shit too. I would say probably until like middle school, I would be, because I've always had problems falling asleep because my brain just like keeps going. So it takes
one and the same. Yeah,
it takes me hours to get to sleep. And so as a kid, I would just like freak myself out. Yeah. And would have to like go up to my parents' room, wake them up late at night, tell them I heard strange noises, and they'd be like, "Fucking, you're 13."
It's just like setting yourself up for a cry wolf situation. Yeah, and one time he was there.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't remember any like specifically being afraid of the boogie monster. I feel like now I would be cool. I would be cool with the boogeyman. I feel like he'd be I feel like he's like chilling with he's probably, this is like propaganda that parents use to like scare their children into behaving. Yeah. And so they're just like dragging his name through the mud. As a
Satan
tool
gets
for
a bad
fear.
fucking rap too. Like all of these like figures or whatever, right? You've only heard them do like them being bad and shit like that. When really, you know what I mean? The real oppression that you're facing is in the own household, right? Look at your rulers. Look at the people that are making the rules, and that is your oppressor. Exactly. Not the homie. You know what I mean? From down under, right? You know what I mean? Bridge trolls, boogeymans, Satans. You know what I mean? Everything that I've heard about them is they're just like bridge trolls. What are they doing? Drinking grog and shit, hanging out, having a little bonfire, partying. I feel
like I would get along with the bridge trolls.
Yeah.
I'd like to hang with them.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
Satan, what's Satan doing? Partying nonstop, right?
Yeah.
He's taking only the coolest people, right? Yeah. So the boogeyman, maybe like if he's under the bed, maybe if it was like an Ant-Man,
maybe he's just looking for a warm place to sleep.
Probably just like just like a homeless like. if the Boogeyman was just like a homeless version of like a paranormal entity. Where he's just like, guys, like, I'm not out there. I'm not like the Chicago Mothman out there fucking flying around like doing crazy shit or whatever. Like, I'm actually more of like a homebody.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe he's just looking. Yeah. I'm into that. I'm into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that he could like shrink down and then like, you know what I mean, like create their own little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe like portals.
Yeah.
Or he comes in through the vents or something. Because I mean, the logistics.
The fucking show that we wrote? The same thing. We wrote a show about Boogie Monster.
Oh yeah. I probably shouldn't talk about because I think they're still.
Are they still pitching it?
I think so. We won't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we can't talk about. We're pretty important here.
Exactly.
Signed
something.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like friendly monsters.
Totally.
Because logistically speaking, I've never thought about this, but how would the Boogeyman get inside a house undetected? Like, there's got to be some paranormal shit happening there.
Either it's like a portal situation, or he could shrink down to like a tiny, like little person. Because under the bed, there's not enough fucking room over there for me to hang out. I'm 6'3", fucking 200 pounds, right?
Yeah.
There's not a way that I can hang out and have any fun under a regular bed.
Yeah.
But if I could like Ant-Man shrink down into the thing, then like there's like whole worlds that you could have depending on how far you shrink yourself down to, right?
Yeah.
So if that was the case, or maybe like some kind of portal situation, but I feel like either way, you would have to be like small, and that's like you like reached a hand out, to like high five or like finger butt.
Yeah.
The only way.
Yeah.
Consenting only, right?
Of course.
I mean, I'm always asking for it.
Yeah.
Always.
Boogeyman always asks for consent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right? So that's what the high five's for.
Yeah.
And then it's like open season.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the.
Did I say 2 fingers? Make it 3.
Yeah. Triple it. But yeah, the assumption also is that there's no stuff under the bed too, because I feel like the main thing that made me stop checking under the bed was that I accumulated a lot of things that I stored
you look under my bed. My bed's storage space. There's
exactly.
A bunch of shit
My bed now, as an adult, there's no such thing as a clear space under the bed.
The fuck?
No one's hanging
crazy?
out down there.
Like, like you look into someone. I bet the person that has a clean under the bed, same kind of person that would set up. You know what I mean? Like a young Laurel Ike. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In some kind of like teeth conspiracy thing.
It all comes back to this dentist.
Always comes back. It all comes back to the teeth, Jackie.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I had one more question, but I feel like we can wrap it up. It's not really.
We're up.
Yeah.
Let's end the plane.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on the?
Final thoughts. This was cool.
Right?
I didn't really know what to expect, and I was very fucking pleasantly surprised that somebody that I knew in the, you know what I mean, in the fucking sphere here or whatever was capable of doing something that was so different from anything that I'd seen before. So it was very eye-opening and made me kind of look at the dude with a little bit of more respect or whatever. Obviously you never had a problem with the guy or whatever, but there was like, this is going to make me go like, hey, there's something special about that cat for sure. Open my eyes up, and I would like to get into maybe a little bit more funk and a little bit more soul music. If anybody has any recommendations for me, fucking let me know, because I would definitely be into that. The vibe was right, and try something new, put something in your butt.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
There you go. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
Actually, I mean, obviously there were some highs and lows for me, but I'm not going to sit here and fucking say what specifically I didn't like about what track, because my sensibility. So as you get more into the record, as it kind of starts to taper off, is when it started to lose me a little bit, especially because I'm reading the lyrics. And I'm really I'm really invested in listening to the thing, so I kind of wanted it to stay at that same hype momentum, because the drums at the beginning, his voice at the really fucking going for it, and then kind of ending with the somber love songs. It's the natural progression. That's the way he should have done it. If it was the other way around, I probably would have thought the record sucked. I would have been like, man, the end of that album has some really good shit on it.
Yeah.
But putting it together the way that they did really kind of kept me holding on through, and the strength of the earlier stuff kind of made me continue to listen, because I'm like, hey, there's got to be something in here. Yeah. And that being said, the songs I didn't really dig were still actually pretty beautiful love songs. So.
Yeah. And there was no like auto tuning or anything, because his voice sounds so different on some of the different songs. I really enjoyed that. It's just him singing differently. Yes. Like there's no manipulation of his voice here. There's one fucking
song here. What is it? So a couple like thoughts. Boogeyman being like the funky fuck the police or whatever, which is great. I love a good metaphor like that.
Yeah.
Zombies, the next track, bullshit metaphor doesn't hit. Maybe like it's fine, but it's not like because fucking Boogeyman was so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is dope. I'm like, ooh, zombies. This is gonna be a cool metaphor as well. You know what I mean? But it's still like a sexy like R&B song and shit. So I was super into that, and that's the one that has the shitty space harmonica or whatever at the end, which is definitely really good.
Yeah.
But like Riot, that like dance jam with the 70s vibe or whatever, so goddamn dope. Redbone.
That was, I think that's the biggest hit from this album.
Was that the single?
Makes
the
first single was the first track, but Redbone was like the biggest single.
When he's like, it's too late, but peanut butter chocolate cake with Kool-Aid. I was like, there's some dope lyrics on here that I was like really fucking.
Chocolate I remember like thinking about that for so long, being like, what does he even mean? I don't know, but I love it.
Okay, so the weird jarring part was on the song called California.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that one up.
It's really cool. The vibe on it is right, but singing one way in the chorus and one way in the verses that are so fucking different, and like the reggae doesn't really like kind of hit, but the song makes a lot of sense, right? Like she's gonna move to California, she must be out of her fucking mind. You know what I mean, right? So like the lyrical content, you know, Jonny likes lyrics, right? You know what I mean? Like, and then it fucking stayed like the whole way, right? But Terrified Baby Boy, and then the instrumental right before the final track or whatever, I'd say the last four kind of didn't like hold me there, but I'm not a music authority, and my opinion doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. So listen to this fucking album. I love
that instrumental track.
It was dope.
Personally. Yeah. That's Gary Clark Jr. Talented artist as well.
GCJ.
Anyways, That's that about sums it up.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's it. All right, try something new, people.
Yeah.
Put it in your butt.
Yeah.